Well, the Arizona Diamondbacks split their 4-game series with the Cubs, and we are going to talk about all the reasons why maybe you should be happy that they won on Sunday. I brought this guy in to argue with me about stuff too. All of this, your Mailbag Monday questions and more, happening in 30 seconds. Don't you go anywhere. Welcome into another edition of the PHNX Dbacks podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montia, occasionally as your mayor of this joint. Welcome into everybody. Of course, I'm joined by the one and only Damon Dog here pulling double duty again. And you know it's important, like Michael says, when this guy shows up. Also on the ones and twos, we got our guy, large intimate Kevin Thomas. Damon, good weekend of baseball, I guess you could say.
Sure.
Yeah? All right.
I mean, it wasn't the cleanest weekend of baseball that we've ever seen, and I think there's a lot of room for growth and improvement. But all things considered, 2-2, things can be worse.
First, one narrative I saw on Twitter. I know we're gonna get so many narratives that we saw on Twitter, but was that the Cubs are like some sort of weak team that the Diamondbacks shouldn't be losing to. Do you agree with that assessment?
I think that the Cubs are they not the division favorites in the NL Central?
Yes, they absolutely are.
I mean, the Central is clearly the two Centrals are clearly the two weakest divisions in baseball and have been for some time now, Derek. Right. And I think you could probably make an argument that in a non-salary cap sport that it has a lot to do with coastal cities being bigger cities. But
the St. Louis Cardinals are currently 3-0 atop the NL Central.
Oh, God.
I would watch them
do this all
out.
year?
No, yeah, probably.
If they stay undefeated.
We're going to ask about a lot of stuff we're going to do. This is going to be a long season, Damon.
But is Kevin going to can I open my mouth about on the Dbacks podcast talking Dbacks baseball without this freak over here bringing
to be
up the
fair,
Cardinals?
I only said that because you mentioned the Cubs being like the tippity top, and I was just giving you some
They were
grit
betting
there.
favorites preseason to win the division.
That's it.
They are now, Damon Dog.
I don't know.
We're 4 games into the season. We are 4 games into the season.
Probably still betting favorites because the odds don't change that fast. But
I'm going to yell a lot today.
Yeah, there's going to be a portion where we yell at each other.
Yeah, definitely. But this is the PHNX Diamondbacks podcast. That's what we do around here. It's presented to you by Bet365 in Game Time. Download the Bet365 app today and use that code of PHNX365 when you sign up. Also, go over to Game Time, sign up with $20 and sign up with PHNX and get $20 off your first purchase at Game Time. But first, let's bring in a moment of joy because today is an off day. Diamondbacks are off, and that's going to play into our argument a little bit about starting lineups and sitting guys. But
for sure.
On this day, on March 31st, 1998, a very important thing happened. The Arizona Diamondbacks played their very first baseball game. A loss to the Colorado Rockies by a score of 9-2. Not great, but hey, we began our little run, and it didn't take very long, 3 years there for the Diamondbacks to end up in the World Series and winning it all. But we're going to talk more.
It's pretty good, right?
It's pretty good. 3 years, right? Not bad. And by the way, it's also the year of the snake once again. And Gino Suárez also hit as many home runs as Gonzo did in his first 2 games. So there's just some similarities. There might have been a bird that got killed at some point. Maybe. I don't know. I hope so, because that sacrifice needs to happen. But first, before we get to the big topic, which is Sunday's game.
You hope a bird got killed?
Yes. I said sacrificed. I said sacrificed. Because Randy Johnson did that during the spring training of the 2001 season.
We can only hope and pray that birds were harmed in the making of this film.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But the Diamondbacks fans' feelings were harmed in the loss on Saturday.
Yes.
Diamondbacks lost a close one there by a score of 4-3. Brandon Pfaadt wasn't terrible. He wasn't great, but he gave the Diamondbacks some length, which is something they very much needed out of starting pitching. He went out there and gave them 6 innings, gave up 6 hits, 3 earned. He walked 1, struck out 5, and gave up 1 home run. So not a terrible day on the mound for Brandon Pfaadt, but the big story, of course, is that Gino continues his monster year already. He had his 4th home run of the season, a 2-run shot, in the 9th inning that made the game a 4-3 game. By the way, Geno Suárez was just named the NL Player of the Week, and that's pretty cool to see him getting that out of the gate, right?
Yeah.
Especially considering how he struggled last year, right? But the big story is that after that, the game was 4-3. Diamondbacks had no outs. Gabriel Moreno singled and gets on with no outs, and Garrett Hampson comes in as a pitch runner and basically becomes a problem, essentially. Marte walked with 2 outs, 2 on. So there were 2 on with 2 outs. Corbin Carroll singles. Hampson runs past third base and was caught there by Dansby Swanson, ending the game by a score of 4-3. The Diamondbacks should have had bases loaded with 2 outs and a chance to potentially tie the game or win the game there in the 9th inning. So
yeah,
a lot of people very understandably angry at Garrett Hampson for overrunning the base. Right?
You're in a tough spot when you're a guy like Hampson where it's like you're not going to get a ton of PT necessarily. So
Right.
you do have to make the most of your opportunities. And when your first kind of like welcome to this new fan base that you're a part of is, hey, I'm going to get thrown out at home on the first Saturday of the baseball season when the most fans are out at the ballpark for the most expensive game of the year so far. And that's how things are going to end. Like that's you feel for a guy in that spot. You know, I don't think that will happen, you know, multiple other times this season, but you know, that's a tough way to, you know, start baseball, but it definitely like kind of, I guess it's more of just a wake up call of like how important these games are, especially when you look at last season and missing playoffs by a game that certain things like that can really come back to bite you.
No, you're not wrong about that. And I think, at least if you're going to make these mistakes, you want them to occur early on in the season so that hopefully they don't occur later. You have that thing that you learn from, right? And there's been a lot of mistakes made by this team. That's why, honestly, a lot of us should be very thankful that they split the series 2-2 with the Cubs, because based on how things went, it felt like at times they were, you know, these games weren't exactly going the Diamondbacks' way in any of them except game 2, right? So, but Hampson overrunning the bag here definitely is a problem, right? Because I think Piece of Yoshi up there asked if it was, you know, the new third base coach, Sean Larkin, that made that mistake. And that's something to keep in mind here. It's something that we'll talk about, the mistakes Torey's made and kind of these changes to his team. But Torey has a new pitching coach in Brian Kaplan. He has a new third base coach in Sean Larkin. We all got very used to Tony Perez-Chica being over there. And I don't think, I mean, many of us learned to love and appreciate him. And I think a lot of fans adored him. But it's like you forget how long he was over there as third base coach for the Diamondbacks and just what a big part he was of the Diamondbacks playing such solid defense day in and day out, right?
True.
So there's a learning curve there for Sean Larkin, who hasn't been a third base coach recently. He was a scouting director for this team, and it's just a new role for him. I think that you're not going to necessarily see him make the same moves maybe that Perez-Chica would have. And we know at times even his, you know, coaching, even his direction there at third base, like telling guys to go and then telling them to stop and stuff, is a thing that we kind of came to know and love. But there is definitely going to be some growing pains with this coaching staff, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you would hope not in, you know, year whatever of Torey that it is, but unfortunately, you know, there was a lot of ins and outs this season. Right. You lose a Brent Strom, and, you know, I think that Brent Strom is obviously one of the top tier pitching coaches in this league, but change was needed with the Diamondbacks pitching because of how bad the starting pitching in particular was last season. Yeah. So, I mean, Tony Perez-Chica, he wasn't a perfect third base coach, but he was a great defensive coach, and I'm sure a huge part of the culture that Torey Lovullo has been building here, Derek. And so it's never an easy loss when you miss guys like that. And I think from Larkin's perspective, gaining that chemistry with the base runners of like, when I do this, that means this. That's going to take a little bit of time
for sure.
But you know, you got to do your best to weed out those inconsistencies and those issues, because you can't be losing games, you know, with runners being thrown out at home again. So because then we'd be having big issues. So
well, I mean, and it's definitely a mental error there. Ryoma says the third base coach's hand signs were really confusing.
Yeah,
we can't hear what he was shouting, but from hand gestures, I couldn't tell if he was telling Hampson to put on brakes or run home. That's absolutely the case. And yeah, we saw that. Like, we saw him pointing back this way. We saw him pointing this way. There's a lot of stuff going on there. And I don't think that they ever intended to send Hampson. I don't think that was the case. But I don't know for
Maybe
sure.
just trying to push it, speed up the defense a little bit, and see if they make a mistake.
Yeah.
But
and Carlos says Tony P was super conservative when it came to sending guys. I don't think Saturday would have happened if he was still here. And again, I don't know if he was sent, but that game, obviously, a lot of that blame falls, again, on Torrey there for putting Garrett Hampson even in the game, right? Moreno gets the single. It's not like Moreno's a fast base runner, so that's the intention here, to have a pinch runner in there. However, obviously it didn't go their way. And if it did, then it would have looked like, a genius move potentially. Then you have what happens on Sunday, kind of is the opposite. It's like a lot of people perceived it as Torrey trying to do everything to give that game away. And you could argue that was the case. I argued a lot on Twitter after that game.
Did you?
I did quite a bit.
I didn't see any of it.
No. Well, I was civil about it.
Did you know that, Kevin?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it was civil. I actually saw it was civil. He kept it short and sweet to one reply.
Yeah.
And ended with a thank you. So it was a beautiful.
I thanked everybody.
Honestly, I think
another thing.
And another thing. And let me tell you another thing.
Let me talk to you.
Newspaper.
Yeah, don't tell anybody I was mad. That was the responses I was getting from a lot of Diamondbacks fans after the Diamondbacks won on Sunday by a score of 10-6. They were mad, and I mean, I don't know why. When you go on this roller coaster, Sarah Lang's tweet, if you got that, Kevin, how can you be mad about this? That's a fun one. That is quite the change there in win probability from the Arizona Diamondbacks. But I think the thing started with Garrett Hampson being in the lineup the next day. That right away was what really irked a lot of people.
Killer Rex put it up there.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You have why would you start Hampson the next day after he blew the game for everyone? I'm not going to, once again, I can understand Torrey's thought process. I don't know if I agree with it necessarily. I'm not saying that Torrey's in the right. I think that was what was confused about a lot of what I was saying. I was arguing with people about being happy after a win and not necessarily needing to go back and rehash the mistakes made and ask for your manager to be fired after you won a baseball game 4 games into the season. I think that's a bit excessive. I think the fact that there's so many people that seem to be okay with, do you want 2 of them on me? I don't know. I probably shouldn't be, I shouldn't be amplified anymore. But no, I'm gonna pump my brakes a little bit on this, but understandably so. I was probably part of that crowd that was like, why is Garrett Hampson in the lineup the next day? I can tell you after thinking about it, I know exactly why he was in the lineup. It's because we are on Game 4 of a 162-game season. Garrett Hampson to the Diamondbacks organization, to Mike Hazen, to Torey Lovullo still has value, unlike he does to fans after he made a mistake like he did on Saturday night. Fans are super quick to want, what do you want him to cut the guy? That's probably the answer that some of you actually have. Torrey and I'm sure the organization feel like there's still value in Garrett Hampson. It's the reason why they decided to offer him a major league contract. They want to show him that they believe in him. Torrey wants to show Garrett that he believes in him. He wants him to flush that mistake that he made on Saturday and come back and believe in himself. Because if he doesn't believe in himself in the game of baseball, he is worthless, and you might as well cut him if it gets to that point, right? That is the reason why he was in the lineup the next day. It might not be the right answer, right? But it is the reason why he was in there. That goes to what some people have a problem with Torrey, where they feel like he's a touchy-feely manager and he's more about the vibes rather than he is about winning baseball games. That's not the case. It's just the fact that you have to believe in guys and you have to make them believe in themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a problem with a lot of the things that people are super fired up about. I feel like we were talking a little bit off air, Derek, and we tried to kind of stop things to not rehash too much of it. But like, I'm legitimately not angry at all. I'd like to preface it by saying none of this makes me mad.
Right.
My team won in an incredible fashion, and it was a lot of fun. And yeah, the team's 2-2. They could be worse. They're not.
They could be better too.
They could be better. They're not.
Make that mistake. Right.
It's game. We're about to embark on game 5, Derek,
Yep.
and this is a 162 game season. And here's the main thing that I wanted to bring up when you texted me if I wanted to be on the show. At the end of the day, with Torey Lovullo, I'm a huge believer in his culture that he has established with this team.
Correct.
And you can say all you want about Torrey day to day, his lineups, blah blah blah. I agree with most of it. I think, for example, whoever put it up, Kevin, in the chat, someone said like the problem is more when you're resting guys, right before an off day.
Yeah.
And I agree with that completely. Why is Gabby Moreno resting against a lefty before an off day? I know you'll talk about that in a second, but why is Corbin Carroll resting already in game 4 of the season? The guy's 24, 25 years old. He doesn't need a rest right now.
Right.
Like rest Cattell, that's fine. I get it. But I guess like I have problems with those lineup inconsistencies. And I don't think Torey is always thinking of the short term, because I think he's a very long-term guy.
Yes.
He wants the team to peak at the right time. Yeah. We saw it in 2023. That's exactly what happened. And it's like I think that the locker room that is being established, the clubhouse aspect of things is so important in baseball, Derek. It's not this isn't like in football, if you ask me would I take a player's coach or a X's and O's savant, I'm taking the guy who's going to draw up the plays and take the other team to the woodshed all game long. But in baseball, I kind of think culture might be the most important thing that you have going.
Yeah.
Just to get through the slog of an entire season. And that's something Torey is elite at, but it's intangible. And people will not see that unless you're in the room, unless you're around the organization. I know people have a problem with guys like you, other guys in the media that like seemingly always defend Torey. And I don't want to put that on you because I think that you do criticize him from time to time. But part of that is because
I'm going to do that in this episode too.
Sure, but part of that is in around the team is that like the vibes are so good all the time, and it's because of Torey Lovullo and the coaches that he brings in. And I just feel like there needs to be more of a perspective about what Torey brings to the table. I understand he's not perfect. I still think he's when you all things considered, he's upper echelon. But I know that pisses a lot of people off because they think that he's genuinely the worst manager in the league, which I think is crazy.
It's crazy.
But and like how they could dislike the guy so much. But I mean, I do want to say that like if this comes back to bite us the way that, resting guy, I know we won the last game, but resting guys on the off days and Corbin Burns missing his first start
going forward,
that will be something I look back on the season and say, okay, that was a huge screw up.
Yeah.
But it's way too early to get to that right now. If the D-backs make the playoffs by 6 games, are we really freaking out about Corbin Burns missing one rotation go around?
Right.
Like I guess that's kind of where I'm at with the whole situation.
Okay. And one thing that you said there is very untrue is that I love Torey Lovullo as a person, and I have no problem.
I'm more talking about the narrative that has been bestowed upon you.
Oh yeah, no, that I'm like on the payroll for the Diamondbacks. I assure you, based on my bank account, I am very much not on anyone. I'm on the payroll here, and that's about it. I do have other jobs, but they don't pay very well. I will say this in regards to Torey Lovullo, he does think about the future, and I think that's why a lot of his decisions in the now don't make sense, right? Yeah. But also, at the same time, that's because of experience. That's because one injury to a critical player on this team could devastate this whole thing that they have going on. Health is a priority for Torey Lovullo. It always has been, and it's the reason why his roster construction doesn't even make any sense. Now, it's because it's his own process, and he has it, in some cases, he actually has it drawn out ahead of times as to when he's going to give guys a break or a day off, right? But there is a lot of things to criticize about yesterday's game, just like there are plenty of things to criticize about Torey Lovullo. I'll take a step back and say the Corbin Burns situation is a debacle that isn't really discussed nearly enough. And that plays in to your problem with Gabby Moreno already having to sit. Gabby has to sit because most people don't know that Gabby played in an extra baseball game on the backfield just so that Corbin Burns could stay on schedule for his next start, right? That game ends up having a cascading effect. Torey Lovullo botching when Corbin Burns could start his season has a cascading effect on the reason why some of these guys are needing extra days off. They played in a full 9-inning backfield game that most people aren't aware that happened just in order to keep Corbin Burns ready to go, right?
Yeah.
That's a huge mistake. Then you go to tomorrow's game, right? Or yesterday's game, excuse me. I don't know about the future yet. Yesterday's game. And you have several things that people had a problem with, right? I will go ahead and say that burning the DH and having Ryne Nelson have to step in there and take an at-bat is a mistake.
Well, Blake puts it here in the chat. We've had it 2 years in a row now where we've had to do that.
Right. But last time he admitted he made a mistake, right? With the Scott McGough situation.
Yeah.
And the Diamondbacks end up losing that game because Scott McGough ends up not being able to get a hit in a critical situation. This situation, while similar, is different because the Diamondbacks, one, had a lead, and two, it was successful, right? I understand wanting to complain about decisions and mistakes your manager makes, but if every once in a while when it works out, you can just let it go. You can just move on. And that was my point with yesterday, was people talking about mistakes that were made in a game that the Diamondbacks ended up winning by a score of 10-6. Not only was Ryne Nelson's RBI single just one of those, runs that added to that lead, but there were several other runs added, and the critical hits there were by Lourdes Gurriel with his home run and Josh Naylor with his go-ahead, double, right? Those were the big hits of the game. There was a lot of talk about needing to bring guys in. Like, yes, Corbin Carroll added in the 9th inning, but that wasn't a run that was necessarily critical in the win overall, right? So, yes, Gabby Moreno helped by coming back into the game. And those decisions by Torey were good decisions to pivot and bring those guys in despite the fact that he was resting them because he felt like he needed to generate some offense, right? Like, it ended up working out for them. A lot of people were mad about Joe Mantiply pitching over AJ Puck. Mantiply absolutely blew it. And yes, I can understand people's ire there.
Game 4 and your best reliever hasn't pitched yet is pretty unacceptable.
But can I say something in regards to that?
I'd love for you to say something. This is a podcast.
AJ Puck's their closer.
Yeah.
AJ Puck is their closer.
Yeah.
Torey hasn't named him that. Torey hasn't gone on record as that, but there is a reason why AJ Puck did not pitch until the 9th inning of that game yesterday, and we probably won't see him pitch unless it's another 9th inning situation. I know it wasn't a save situation, but he had to get work in because, as so many people pointed out, he did not pitch for 36 innings this season. Like you said, your best pitcher, well, there's a reason why. There's a reason why he went with Joe over AJ Puck there earlier in the game. I will say that there needs to come a time where people need to start getting more mad about the performance of the goddamn player than the manager putting him in the spot. That's something that, again, I know that at times Torey's trusted guys, just like he did with Garrett Hampson, who didn't deliver in this game, to come back in and get those opportunities when they've blown games. And again, the reason why is to show belief and hope those guys can get back on track and become an asset to this team instead of a detriment. The problem here is that Joe Mantiply, in theory, should have been able to come in and not blow the game like that, right? And I mean, you can't expect every reliever to go in there and not do that.
Is Torey technically making that call, or is Brian Kaplan making that call?
I mean, it's a
group decision.
Torey goes to his coaches and asks them. Torey has always been very open about the fact that he does work with his coaches on decisions like that, right? But I mean, all I'm saying overall is that, things didn't work out for him, but at the same time, Torey only has so many arms in the bullpen, so many arms that are active that day that he can turn to. And if those guys don't perform, some of it's on the coaching staff, but also a lot of it is on the pitcher himself for not going out there and performing, not getting the job done, right? So
I'm totally with you from all of this perspective. I think that, we agree, the resting guys on off days has always been kind of weird, and doing it in game 4 of the season, I think, is extremely weird.
Yes.
That being said, is it something that you should be seeing red incensed about online after you come back and win a game 10-6,
8-run inning,
8 runs in the 8th inning,
yeah.
like that? It's more about picking and choosing your battles, I think.
Yes.
I agree that stuff is all a problem. I think sometimes Torey, he overmanages in those regards a little bit, where
I think Mark said he micromanages, and I think that's a fair way to put it.
Yeah,
for sure.
and it's just at the end of the day, I think that we need to value the intangible stuff that Torey brings to the table that keeps this team in good spirits over the course of a long season. Here's another thing, though, that I will say, Derek, and I know that the injury bug bit them really early last season. Yes. And that's part of why Torey is probably giving all these rest days so early in the year.
Yeah.
I think you can't coach like that, because I think that you get yourself in a position where now you miss by a game and you look back and you go, wow, we really were not playing our best players for the first month of the season, half the time. And so I think that, you got to trust your training staff and what they're doing. You got to and think that this is not going to be a recurring issue type situation. We weren't an injury-prone team 2 seasons ago. That was just a last season thing, really. And I think you just kind of got to let the chips fall as they will. And that's why you have guys like Jordan Lawler and, Del Castillo in AAA that are getting everyday ABs, so that if something arises, you have them hot and ready to go and ready to play baseball. So I think that I just wish that the mentality was a little bit more aggressive right now, rather than like maybe resting kind of and trying to play it healthy. Do it with Cattell. I'm cool with doing it with Cattell. Everybody, like I think Corbin should be like basically full go, man.
Carlos says, I like Torrey, but there are things that draw my ire. Obsession with matchups over the hot hand, resting dudes on off days, putting up Christmas lights before Thanksgiving. I think we can all agree with all of those things.
I'm with you on the last one for sure.
Does he really do that?
Yeah. Oh, he's a crazy person when it comes to
puts up Mike Hazen's Christmas lights.
Yeah. I also recently found out that he hangs the frame pictures in Mike Hazen's house as well, because he's very good at that. Weird skills that our manager has.
Brett says here in the comments, and I agree with him, I think there's a difference between being mad they won and still criticizing some choices that Torrey made.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because you criticize a move doesn't mean you're calling to fire him. 100%.
Exactly.
Brett, I'm in that group. I consider myself part of the category with you and the other reasonable Diamondbacks fans.
That's where I got thrown into being like, oh, you can't even criticize it to Derek. No, that's not my point. My point was the people that wanted to focus solely on that and not on the fact that Ryne Nelson is the first pitcher besides Shohei Ohtani, who I don't believe did it as a pitcher, but the first pitcher to get a hit since the rule was instituted for the universal DH. And that's impressive, right? That Ryne Nelson went out there and did the thing. I think there's other reasons to be happy. I think you could have taken away the fact that the Diamondbacks had a huge comeback victory, hope that momentum carries over to their road trip to New York, and gone out and enjoyed your Sunday instead of being online screaming about the manager needing to be fired 4 games into the season.
I think your problem is more with the fact that people, like, you know how it's like, you
tell me what my problem is?
Hand on the shoulder.
And touch me.
Hand on the shoulder is
That's
crazy.
Mute us.
Let me tell you what your problem is.
No, are we muted? Let me know when we're muted.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the PHNX Dbacks show.
I appreciate David being here today. This is a great day for him to be here.
All I was going to say is that I think that, like you are more so like, it's like that statement, like, let the apologies be as loud as the disrespect. It's not, that's not necessarily about that in particular, but I think that Mike's gone. What's it called? I think that we're looking at a spot where it's like, be happier that the team had a remarkable comeback win than matter about the things that put you in a bad spot where you could have lost. I agree that we should be able to talk about the issues, but I just think that, I think you're trying to say that the positives outweigh the negatives in this sense because the team had a cool win that we should all feel good about.
Exactly.
But I ultimately, with Brett and other people that are in that camp, I'm with you. I agree with you. I think it's just, there's a certain subset of people that are like, they almost want Torrey to make mistakes
so that they can say
we have to fire Torrey.
Yeah, right.
Because that's like their whole personality.
I actually saw a tweet about that, because the tweet actually said, I wish we would have lost this game so that Torrey Lovullo could be fired. And then I saw another thing about like, just crazy stuff. But here's what I will say about, this whole situation is that people...
Kevin's losing his mind over it. Kevin hasn't stopped laughing in 4 minutes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The chat is just on fire right now. You're getting called a 21-year-old. They're asking how Derek got so red. Mark's saying that people in the audio side must have think that something's wrong. They went deaf. I'm sorry. I'm getting it under control over here, Dave.
That's fine. The biggest problem I had, and we'll get to, you know what? Let's get to my biggest problem on the other side of this break. You guys have to stick around. We're going to do that on the other side. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondbacks show. Well, of course, All Pro Shade Concepts can help you not throw shade at your friends, I guess. It can also help block out the shade in your backyard and extend your outdoor living space with a custom fit awning. They have hundreds of designs to choose from, hundreds of colors to choose from that match any home. They have LED lighting, motorized awnings, all sorts of cool stuff that'll help keep you cool. Roll down patio shades that block the sun and keep your patio up to 20 degrees cooler. And they can also replace and fix most old or outdated patio shades and motorized awnings. So check them out. They've been in business here in the Valley for 20 years. They started making window shades by hand for friends and family right here in Phoenix. And now they are one of the largest installers of patio roll down shades and motorized awnings in the Valley. Contact them for an estimate. You can call them at 623-204-1476 or visit allproshadeconcepts.com now to schedule your free estimate. Also, if you want to elevate your brand, you can do that with Branded Bills. Branded Bills is the perfect headwear and apparel company. Whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitted hats, beanies, or tees, they have you covered with some amazing designs. They have performance, they have style. We got a chance to get a sneak peek at their new stuff coming out. They are always having new additions to what you as a brand can add. If you're looking to make your gear stand apart from the crowd, Branded Bills has you covered with the best custom headwear. You can start your order and their dedicated team will create the exact custom apparel you need. Head to brandedbills.com and use our code of PHNX for 20% off your first order right now. They have partnerships with ASU, U of A, and the Suns. I don't know how many people want to rock the Suns right now, but the other schools. And you know what? They got some amazing Arizona hats as well. They're a local company from right here in Mesa, Arizona. So it's always great to shop local and always great to support a company that provides such amazing headwear, by the way. We think we're all fans of Branded Bills. I have my collection is growing quite a bit.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, again, head to brandedbills.com and use that code of PHNX for 20% off your first order. And go do so now. Tell them the mayor sent you. Also, we got a PHNX golf tournament coming up on April 12th, the Green Jacket Open Scramble. There's a 2 p.m. shotgun start at Dobson Ranch Golf Course right here in Mesa, Arizona. Your entry fee includes range, balls prior to the round, 18 holes with a cart, games throughout the event, raffle and tournament prizes, PHNX tee gifts, and so much more. They'll have a pre-tournament Masters watch party, food, and after-round party at Dobson Ranch. So sign up as an individual or a foursome today at gophnx.com/events to take part in the fun on April 12th at Dobson Ranch Golf Course.
They get more fun every year, Derek. We've done 3 of them now.
Yeah.
And
I had the time of I met some best friends last year.
Justin Spears.
Yeah,
did you know that, Kevin?
I already love Justin Spears a lot.
What?
So last year, Derek got put in Justin Spears' scramble on randomly
with Nick Robinson.
Yeah, it was just like a foursome, and
Nick Robinson is like David Robinson's cousin.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
But, and he is like an Instagram, like he's like a influencer and stuff on Instagram.
They're all like, they have like fireball shooters, Kevin. They're all cheersing them.
Best time.
Even if it was just duos, like just a pair, I think it's hard to find a more fun-loving pair than Justin Spears and Derek Montilla.
You know what's even crazier about the thing, though?
Is Spears just wants to laugh.
Derek was supposed to work. we all signed up for our jobs to help facilitate the thing.
Yeah.
Someone backed out last minute. They said
no. Espo, Budenholzer got hired and he had to go do the emergency
we have breaking
podcast.
PHNX news every single time we do one of these.
Correct.
Bud got hired. Hopkins got traded at the one before that. So like it's always some crazy thing that's happening. And yeah, Derek was he got the opportunity to play in a group
instead of working
and just bailed on us. But I will say
definitely an upgrade.
I got to and I will cause a scene if I don't get this same job this year. Golf cart guy. Oh,
it's
the best job in the world.
It's my profile picture for you because you're asleep in a golf cart under a tree.
That doesn't sound like something that I did during our tournament.
No, not you. Not you at all.
Did I have to wake up at like 6 a.m. to be there or something? No way.
Just a little siesta. Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Wasn't me.
Growing boy needs his rest.
Sounds like it might have looked like me, but I don't think it was.
Let's get to some of these super chats real fast. Michael Rokicki says Derek's dedication to doing an episode during Raw warrants a super chat. Thank you. I appreciate you appreciating the fact that I'm not getting to watch live WWE wrestling right now. Though I am kind of sick of these European crowds. The Cody Rhodes.
Wait, actually?
Cody Rhodes. It gets old after a while.
You know what doesn't get old? It gets old when you do it for the two of the like same chant for two different people. You can't do the Cody Rhodes and then Roman Reigns. It doesn't work. You have to be more creative. We're there like once every 8 months. You have time to come up with some unique
we need
ones.
something else. But anyway, back to actual news. I did want to give you guys my real problem with what happened yesterday was baseball games, and you know this, are always their own entity. And while you might not like the way that Torey Lovullo coached in that game, managed that game, the idea that this is going to happen again and that this is going to be how he manages going forward is preposterous, right? Like it was a situation where here early on in the season, he's being conservative with his lineup. He ended up still going to some guys on the bench. He ended up making, some moves that cost them their DH spot. And I'm sure that it probably wasn't the thing he wanted to do, but he was trying to, I guess, pull out all the cards, pull out all the stops to try to figure out some way to win. And he ended up kind of overplaying his hand. luckily the guys came through for him. It's this narrative, though, that the players bailed Torrey out. Like, yes, the players did their job and the players played the game and they scored more runs than the team and they won. And a lot of that is because of the players and not because of Torrey. But the idea that they bailed him out is kind of wild, considering that the players that he put into that game and the way he managed it still led to them winning that game, right? I do understand people's concern with some of the things that he does, like Carlos's list of his grievances, especially the one about putting Christmas lights up before Thanksgiving. But I don't really think that what we're going to see going forward is, the same kind of stuff. I mean, I don't think that this is how he's going to manage games. Games are just chaotic sometimes. And sometimes as a manager, you look to your bench, you pull out what you can, and you hope that it works, right? Like, I get why people kind of at times get tired of Torrey, but the people that don't get tired of him are the players themselves, because that's who Torrey cares about.
It's the people that are around Torrey all the time that are the people that are most in his corner, which I feel like should go for something. Like, I know like people want to like turn this into like, oh, like you're, shilling, people just shill for the team type of situation. But it's like, no, well, I'm talking about like, all the reporters and stuff that are around the players, the media people, everyone that's around Torrey loves the guy. Yeah. And that should mean something at the end of the day.
Yeah. But anyway, I will say that, like we did learn from last year, every single game counts. And I think that's the traumatic experience we as a fan base went through together that makes people so mad about even a loss or a potential loss getting botched by the manager on March 30th, right? Like, it's just a long season. And if we are going to get this upset about, moves like this, it's going to be an even longer season. So we'll see what happens with this team going forward. But they have a day off and they have a big series coming up in New York.
Yeah. Well, I mean, William, I'm with you. Like, he does do – I agree with you. The lineup stuff is the stuff that people get bothered by with Torrey. But I could just as easily say – then he went into that postseason and he didn't miss once until the World Series. Like, the guy was King Midas, Derek. Everything he touched, every lineup decision he made, every pinch hitter, it was working out, right? So it's like we could play that from both sides of the equation. Sure. And like I guess like this is where, people get upset with you. So it's funny because like I came in here being like, me and Derek are gonna argue. But now it's like I can take a step back enough and be like, yes, Torrey is not perfect. There's a lot of things that bother me that Torrey does, but at the end of the day, he is a positive influence on this organization. And I think that people like it sucks how many people in this fan base, the longest tenured manager in franchise history, are like despise the guy. Yeah. I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, and I know that, you got other situations like what's going on with the Braves, where Brian Schnichter is already talking about not returning after this season, and the Braves haven't won a baseball game. So, again, there's managers across baseball that at times don't have the same connection to the team, that aren't the same kind of manager. Some fans want that. Some fans want less of a loving dad type with Torrey and more of a baseball manager. And that I can understand and respect, but it's not going to happen. It's just who he is. It's not going to change. So, again, this is, and I think somebody here in the chat said it, but Torrey's always been this way and he always is going to be this way. He did promise us that he is learning to not sit guys after they have a 5-hit night, but he just said that. He hasn't actually done it yet. So we'll see if he actually sticks to saying that if he decides to sit a guy, he's not going to. But all that to be said, we're going to move on from these games because the Diamondbacks move on. They have New York, and like somebody here said, the bowling pin bats that have suddenly drawn the ire. The torpedo bats, have you had a chance to see exactly what they are? I
just looked at them and I saw that the Yankees are like the best team of all time now.
So
do you think it's like a placebo thing?
They move because they move it down to they're basically making the barrel of the bat where the label is. Like, they're moving it down, right, to where you would, apparently it had something to do with Anthony Volpe, fouling off a bunch of balls or something like that. But this is a kind of a crazy thing that, is going to drive people nuts when it comes to the Yankees or like the Dodgers or the Yankees do something like this. And people are going to immediately be like, they steroided their bats, right? And that's
especially the Yankees.
Oh, man. But anyway, it's Monday.
The Dodgers, they did do that, though. I feel comfortable. They're corking. shaven.
Yeah. Whatever accusations you can throw around.
Probably injecting it with some sort of performance enhancer, even though it's an inanimate object that doesn't breathe.
I want the gold letters and numbers tested. I don't know for what, but I just want them tested.
If it has real gold, is it heavier? You know what I mean?
I just want to know what kind of advantage this is.
While we're on Dodgers for a second, I actually got ripped this tweet off right before we got on this show. I don't know if the fine folks, if you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. But Sasaki was like pretty emotional. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Roki Sasaki pretty emotional after his first outing.
He's struggling.
What exactly did Shohei Ohtani say to him after blowing his Dodgers money line bet in the dugout? Like it's like I get it, Shohei. You know, it means a lot. You know, it's early in the season. I'm sure you're trying to get off into a good start, right? But like it's 4 of 162. You got 158 more of these guys to bet on the rest of the way. So cut a guy some slack. Really? Roki didn't mean to, and he's gonna try better next time and hopefully cash that ticket for you. So I know Ohtani was freaking out, getting mad at him, but I just think you gotta take a step back. It's early in the season, Ohtani. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You done? You good?
I just feel bad for a guy like Roki in that situation.
No, that's fine. I think we all do. We all do for sure. He should have made a better decision, but hey. We got Corbin Burns, so I'm good with that. I will say, once again, I want to credit Ryan Nelson getting a first hit by a pitcher not named Shohei Ohtani. Right? We got the Sarah Langs tweet about that. Then we got
I don't have that. I just had the wee.
Yeah, you just got the wee one, but yeah, no, that was a historic moment there for Ryan Nelson. So that's all I want to focus on. Let's congratulate. Let's keep. I'm a very positive person, except when I'm fighting with people on Twitter. Then
Ohtani said he put his best friend in prison. He doesn't care what he says to Roki.
He's not wrong.
You just got here. You think I care?
Yeah, you think I care about you? I'm not even going to learn your name yet. Fresh meat.
Hokey pokey.
Well, it's Monday. We're going to do a lot of trash talking because you know what we do around here. It is the year of the snake. And every year on this podcast, by the way, is the year of the snake. Every month on this podcast is Black History Month. Every month on this podcast is Women's History Month. And every month on this podcast is Black Women's History Month. Every week is Shark Week. Every single day is Earth Day. But on Mondays, we go to the mailbag. Kevin, let's go.
My mailbox. Always something interesting in my mailbox. And it's in it. And then once in a while, it's a letter that makes you go, wow, my mailbox.
I mean, I'm looking at
it's in there.
Yeah.
I don't know why it wouldn't play in the thing, but
you can click on the play button.
Well, I got you, but it was by the time we got there, I just went, I figured we need to get to the questions as soon as humanly possible.
Who do you like better, Megarian's version or the Kevin Thomas remix?
I'm a bit partial to the original, but
can I also say I prefer the original?
I do like live performances though, so I got to give him some credit. But hey,
I'm thinking maybe Rand remixes it with Kevin with a verse on the track.
We'll get him in the studio. He's got some new equipment for sure.
Don't quit your day job.
Zach says don't quit your day
Zach,
job.
I don't want to quit my day job, man. These people know actually I'm not a big karaoke guy, that was pretty painful for me.
Zach, we might be washed. You might have been right. But what do we got? Do we got any questions in the mailbag? What's our first one?
First question comes from Hanley, who wants to know, what is your biggest takeaway from this series versus the Cubbies?
My biggest takeaway is that nothing will make some of you people happy, ever. Some of you are going to be miserable no matter what good things happen to you in your entire life, and you just can't find joy or peace. I don't know. No, my biggest takeaway is that the Diamondbacks made entirely too many defensive mistakes. I am encouraged by the fact that I do think that they could have taken 3 out of 4 here. Right? Yeah. They were pretty beat. They were fairly, overmatched in game 1 there. But outside of that, I felt like these other 3 games were all winnable. They definitely, did that in 2 of them, but one of them, they really, blew it there at the end. But I will say that, again, you have to be encouraged by the fact that Zach Gallen, did not have a good start, and the Diamondbacks, still managed to put up 6 runs and kind of come back from the 4-run deficit that Gallen got them in. It was just the fact that the bullpen couldn't keep him in the game either, and it just kind of ended up getting a little out of control, right? I just think that there is a lot of encouraging things about the amount of offense that they've already put up this year, how good Gino's been, and the fact that they are 2-2 with playing some of the worst defense, quite frankly, that we've seen them play in probably the last 2 seasons. Yeah, no,
100% on all those things. My biggest takeaway is that I hate Derek, and I want to make him the public enemy number 1 of this fan base. I think that is.
It's good.
I think that is where we need to be.
I'm ready. I had someone standing at an intersection threw a rock in my car, and I'm pretty sure
because he said that's Cap_caveman.
I'm pretty
with a K.
sure it was someone that recognized me from Twitter.
But yeah, I guess I would say the defensive thing, like you said, sloppy defensively, not great.
Yeah,
my guy, one of the big reasons of that, Perdomo can't have it. Like he had a kind of a rough defensive season last year. I'll fully admit that. Like he wasn't as good as the season before. This year, I think he needs to prove again that he's an above-average shortstop, and it's a rough start so far. So can't have that. And then on top of that, I think just Zach Gallen's start. Like I don't want to read too much into it. I know you asked me after the first game, like how much stake are you putting into it? Kind of a lot, because he was bad last year and he looked bad to start this year, and so it's kind of that's freaking me out a little bit. I think that Zach Gallen in his, from a negative standpoint, how will he be able to pick it up? And then from a positive standpoint, Alek Thomas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
He's been so good.
We need that. So I feel like he's the X factor of this team. If Alek Thomas gives you 270, we are all witnesses.
Yeah.
If Alek Thomas gives you 270 with 20 bombs and Gold Glove defense, we're talking about a different season for the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's wishful, I know, but I'm just saying, like, say he goes off this year, we're in a great spot.
Well, we're going to get into Alek Thomas and Jake McCarthy discussion, but his bat so hot that was the bat that Ryan Nelson used to get that hit yesterday was Alek Thomas's bat. So again, I don't know. I think so far what we've learned is that this team is good, but there's been some changes that make it not the same team that we're used to. The absence of Christian Walker at first base is going to be noticeable, and it's going to be a huge reason why this team isn't as good defensively as they were in the past few seasons, right? Not to mention the fact that Christian Walker is also probably one of the people that hurt Torey, right? When you talk about Torey kind of managing scared and doing the things he's doing with the lineup, he still feels like it's on him to this day that Christian Walker experienced that oblique injury and then had it get aggravated again and then miss more time. And he still, in spring training, he felt kind of still responsible about it, even though that injury is happening on another team now for Christian Walker. So Torey has feelings, and he remembers when he did things that he thinks caused players to get injured.
Feelings too.
I don't. That's why people can be so mean to me.
Yeah, that's right. That's why you say whatever you want to Derek online. He actually doesn't get upset at all.
I don't get angry at all.
Really level-headed guy.
What else we got, Kev?
Question number 2. Tucson Dbacks. That sounds like Damon over there. What would qualify as a successful April? Really tough schedule. So if we can sneak out of the first 26 games at 15-11, I'd call it a W.
15-11 would be a huge win. But then when you take a look at the schedule, right, we have an upcoming 3-game series with the Yankees. After that, they have 3 with the Nationals. That, not going to overlook the Nationals, but that should be a series win, even if you want to write off maybe the Yankees series as a potential loss, right? So if you go 500 in those games, you have 3 games against the Orioles, and then you have 3 games against the Brewers, 3 games against the Marlins, 3 more games against the Cubs in Chicago, and then you
big ones
wrap up with the Tampa Bay Rays, the Braves, and then the Mets. So I don't know, because some of these teams are playing pretty good baseball right now. The Brewers, I think, are a win. I think the Nationals are a win. But I do think that, like, the Marlins, right, have somehow walked off 2 of the, all 3 games or something like that against the Pirates. You had, of course, the Rays winning some baseball games. Braves have not been good. So I honestly, I don't know. I mean, the schedule is tough, but I think 15-11 schedule. No, I'm not dying anything.
15-11 and Derek will dye his hair again. I think we're on the right. We're all on the same track. I think in this room.
Mark says it's against the Pirates. Doesn't count. Yeah, that's fine.
You, Kevin, and 135 of our closest friends in the entire world all in agreement that 15-11 you'll dye your hair.
No.
Only what if they get like exactly 15-11, like not 16-10, not 14 and like whatever.
That'd
12.
be pretty funny.
No, I'm not agreeing to anything anymore.
Like it comes down.
Unlike Torey, I've learned my lesson.
Whoa!
Derek needs a loss on the last game, and he's actively rooting for a loss to keep his hair in place.
You've never seen a guy be more unhappy after a win.
Yeah.
than Derek, even after this past weekend.
People want my eyebrows? You guys are monsters. You guys are worse than the people that came for me on Twitter. Teal hair.
Ugh.
Oh, that's not going to be a good look
I think eyebrows is like almost worse. Yeah. You'd almost rather be like a purple hair guy than a purple eyebrow guy.
Yeah. No, I'm not. You know what I'll do is I'll just ferment my beard so I don't feel so old. That's what I'll do. But I'll just do that just no matter what the record is. Let's get one more in, Kev, before we got to go to here.
All right, next question comes to us from Jacob Franklin.
Hey!
Who says, you're brave to do this. On that note, confidence level 1 to 10 going into New York.
I'm actually fairly confident. I just don't know about those damn torpedo bats. Those scare me, and I don't know what to really...
This is a bad time to get the Yankees.
Real? Yeah.
Like you could, we don't really know. Maybe it was the Nestor Cortez factor, and they're just like, we own this guy because he cost us a ring last year. Mm-hmm. So they're like, we're gonna destroy him 100%. Yeah. But I like this. It's a very uncertain time. Like there's a chance that we go into this next series and the Yankees win every game by like 5+ runs, and then you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, these torpedo bats are actually kind of a problem.
Yeah, this is.
But
yeah.
I think
we might be on that train soon enough.
It's too early, but I would say that it's like it's kind of extremely uncertain. So I might even go with like a 5.
Okay.
Just because like I want to go right in the middle there on Jacob's question. Like I'm not confident at all. I'm also not like, my knees aren't shaking over here, Derek. I feel pretty decent about this team. So. Somewhere in the middle. I'm
kind of with Sean. I'm at 7, and I use Ryoma's reasoning there is that with Burns on the mound, you got Burns going in game 1. You're going to get Zach Gallen in game 2 and Merrill Kelly in game 3. Frankly, if the Diamondbacks...
Aaron Judge home run when Zach Gallen's on the mound.
Yeah.
Cash it.
Yeah. I mean...
We're making money.
If your team's going to lose, doesn't mean you have to. Don't forget that. But if the Diamondbacks can't go into New York and put up at least a good showing with their 3 best starters on the mound, then there's cause for concern.
That'd be pretty concerning, yeah.
Right? But because they have Corbin, Zach, and Merrill going, I'm confident. I'm fairly confident. Zach is going to be pitching on one of the biggest stages that he's going to pitch on all year long in a contract year. Frankly, if he goes out there and doesn't have a good outing, I'm ready to be concerned about him. You know? And I mean, again, it's not that the Diamondbacks need Gallen to be their ace now that they have Corbin Burns, but my God, I mean, Zach Gallen is he's going to be a huge factor for this team. And if he does not have a good season, I don't know how far the Diamondbacks can go. I think they still have a strong starting, rotation without him being a big piece of it. But I mean, I also don't doubt that Zach Gallen will get back on track. I mean, he has been one of the Diamondbacks' most consistent starters in team history, outside of a couple guys named Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling. So, and he's been here for a while now. So there's all the motivation in the world for Gallen to go out in game 2 of this series and shove. Let's hope that happens.
I like what Jacob says here. We got Corbin Burns on the mound against the Yankees 5. I know it's so early in the season, so it's like, it's weird to put expectations like this, but I think you almost kind of have to win that game.
Yeah.
Cause you're like, you have to set the tone in the series. You could very well lose the next 2 going against the Yankees, better pitchers. Like, that's a mismatch you just have to take advantage of this early in the season. And I like what Ryoma says too about like make the Yankees play baseball, make them base run, make them play defense. Sure. Like for that, sure. They're not good at that stuff. Right. If it's a game on the margins like that with Diamondbacks, I know the defense and the base running has been bad to start.
Well,
but I think that's an advantage that we would have in that case, and I think that's something you got to play into.
Yeah. Transonic says Diamondbacks are 2-2 and their best pitcher hasn't thrown yet.
Yep.
Great point. All right, let's go ahead and we'll get back to some more Mailbag Monday questions on the other side of this break. We'll be right back. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, I definitely needed some Pure Edibles last night to calm me down. Pure Edibles, of course, is an amazing company that can help you change your mood, which was an important thing for me, and also get a good night's sleep. They were founded right here in Arizona and are available in 130 dispensaries statewide. They're not covered in sugar like all their competitors, but they still taste great, and they offer a variety of candies, including gummies, Kicks, which are their version of Starburst, Chews, which are soft candies, and hard candies. Pure effects are clearly listed on each tin so you know exactly what you're getting, and their gummies offer sleep support as well as uplifting effects derived from unique cannabinoids. Now, getting good sleep is critical to recovery, and it's a big reason why Pure can not only help you with your sleep, but can help you feel better, help your body feel better. They're designed to be ripped or bit in half, making them easily shareable or easy to dial in your exact dose. And they were created in Flagstaff, Arizona at Noble Herb Dispensary, the home of Pure Edibles. They're now made right here in Phoenix. So go find yourself some Pure Edible products from one of over 130 dispensaries right here across the state of Arizona. And if you are looking to make your home in Arizona and you're looking to get into your dream home, let Carol Royse and her team do that for you. I know if you want to be safe at home, like the Diamondbacks were yesterday, call Carol Royse. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or a seasoned pro, Carol Royse can help you get into the exact home you're looking for. And if you need a game plan, you need a manager that sticks to a game plan, little innuendo there, make sure to look to Carol Royse and her team. She'll help you not only get into a starter home, but will help you game plan to the exact dream home that you've always wanted. If you are worried about financing, Carol works with the best lenders, ensuring you get the best rates and loan options. She also can help you if you become a VIP buyer, get access to off-market properties that haven't been picked over. You won't find these homes on Zillow or Realtor.com. Carol's so confident that you'll love your new home that if within 18 months you aren't happy with it, the Carol Royse team will buy it back. If you're ready to find your dream home, take the next step. Call Carol Royse or visit Carol online at carolroyseteam.com. That's carolroyseteam.com. Terms and conditions apply. All right, what else do we got for some Mailbag Monday questions?
Next up, Brighton Bobbitt. What's the level of concern with the defensive play after the Cubs series?
Ooh, we were already getting into this, but I think high, right? I think that there's talent. These are the same guys, right? But there are certain things to be said about the coaching, right? Sean Larkin being there at third base has a lot to do with defensive positioning and things like that. So it's not necessarily just on the players that the defense has been bad. Once again, most like many of you want to do, we can blame it on the coaching. It's fine. But this isn't the Diamondbacks brand of baseball, frankly. Their brand of baseball, like you said, is that's how they can win against the Yankees, is making the Yankees play all the facets of the game and not letting them just go out there and hit 10 home runs.
Yeah, totally with that. I in general, honestly, my worries with this team's defense is not very high. I think we know what they are, and that's that when Gabby's not catching, there's going to be some problems with that catcher spot defensively,
Sure. Yeah.
Which, with Torrey, Gabby sits quite a bit. And then I think with the outfield, the arms are not good. We know that. We've known that for a long time. Me and Jesse, that's like our favorite thing. And then, there's the, I think the Perdomo situation, in which I think that's probably where my highest level of concern is, to be honest with you, is he didn't have a good year last year.
Yeah.
It's the most demanding defensive position outside of catcher probably. And I think I'm a little bit worried about Perdomo with the defense. I'd say the panic button is right. It's right at the front of it. It's far enough away from me where I would have to really put some effort in to reach over and hit it.
You wheeled your chair up to the desk that the panic button is at, but you're leaving the little case still closed on it.
Yeah.
You need Kevin to flick the other switch with you at the exact same time in order to initiate the process.
Yeah, you need the codes. I don't have the codes yet. I haven't gotten that far, but I would say that I have a medium level of concern about Perdomo and that shortstop position, just because I think we've seen a sample size now where he hasn't been great.
Yeah,
so you need him.
right.
You need him to pick it up.
And I mean, again, you don't know how that new contract is factoring into his psyche, right? Yeah, his just overall wanting to do too much, and that's a big problem for this team. We know in the past that their offense has gone cold because you can frankly see these guys trying to hit 3 home runs in one at bat, and that's just not something that this team has really hung its hat on. That's not their calling card. Their calling card is getting a hit, taking what comes to you, and handing it off to your teammate, trusting them to bring you home or get that big hit. We do have some breaking news here that you guys are talking about in the chat. Jurickson Profar has been apparently tested positive for banned substance.
I am shocked that the guy who was not good forever was finally unbelievable
last year for the Padres
and was somehow juicing a little bit.
Yeah, he's been suspended for 80 games according to reports. So that's a big blow to a Braves team that already is kind of having some struggles here initially. And like I said earlier, Brian Snichter kind of made those comments about leaving after this season. Maybe this scandal, maybe this is one of the reasons why Brian Snicker made those comments. Maybe he's a little done with baseball after having one of his players that they just acquired as a free agent get popped for a banned substance. But anyway, moving on.
I won a Silver Slugger last year, and after being like a bust for the majority of his career, pretty crazy.
Never been more shocked in my life.
No.
All right. What else we got, Kevin?
Next up, Alan wants to know, after seeing JM's performance versus AT's performance over the last 4 games, what are your thoughts on center field starting job battle? Worth to note that Alek Thomas hit well on a start versus left-handed pitching.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the biggest thing that's keeping Alek Thomas from having the majority of the playing time is his bat.
Yeah.
He really struggled in spring training, and then the season came around, and Alek Thomas so far has been outstanding at the plate. His approaches have been great. He's been hitting the ball hard. His exit velo has been great, even on outs. And I mean, again, it's one of those situations where I feel like Jake McCarthy really didn't run away with the job in spring training. It wasn't like he did well enough that it was automatically going to be his job, but he did do better than Alek Thomas did, and offensively specifically. I wouldn't say the two are a wash defensively. I think Alek Thomas is a better defender. I think he's faster. I think he plays center field better. But I also think Jake McCarthy is a very, very good outfielder, and there's no reason for, again, for these guys to lose a ton of playing time to one another or whatever. I mean, the outfield is always going to have Torrey doing matchups and mixing things around. So, but I feel like right now Alek Thomas is winning the job.
Yeah, it's certainly early, but, he's batting 700 right now, Derek, and you got to tip your cap to that. And, we've all known that Alek Thomas that's always been his issue. Mark here says, will there ever be a year where Jake and Alek are good together?
No.
And that's an interesting question.
No,
Probably
the
not.
answer is no.
But that being said, I feel like I always have this conversation whenever I come on this show. There's like the way, and we were talking about with Torrey, and obviously I want Torrey to rest guys a little bit less, but there's almost 4 starting outfielders on this team, in my opinion. Like, I think that there's enough ABs to go around with the amount of rest that Torrey likes to give people, where Lourdes, Jake, Alek, and Corbin all get a starter's amount of reps. Same thing with the infield with last year with like a Kevin Newman, where like he wasn't a starter on paper. Go look at the amount of at-bats that guy got. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that there's enough room for, the depth players to get a lot of run. And that was part of my problem with why I wanted Jordan Lawler on this opening day roster, is because I thought if he's the primary backup infielder, he'll get at bats all over the place. Yeah. So I tend to think about it in less of like who's the starter between those guys, because I really do think that they're going to get both enough play to prove who deserves to be the starter over the course of a year. But
we didn't even talk about how...
And Grichuk. I forgot about Grichuk,
and there's
too.
Grichuk, too, right. But you also have the DH spot, which they're going to be rotating guys in, and they're just going to do that all season long. It's not going to be just...
For sure,
Pavin and Grichuk in the DH spot.
Or Lourdes. Throw Lourdes in there if you want a fast outfield in one of these games or whatever.
You go.
So.
Yeah. You also have the fact that, like, we kind of glossed over and didn't even talk about, but Alek Thomas was huge in that win yesterday. I mean, he had a 2-out RBI. He had, he was, 2 for 3 yesterday with 3 runs scored and 2 RBIs. So, I mean, again, there's a lot to like about what Alek Thomas is doing. And right now, he's one of the best players offensively on the team. You got Alex, you got Gabriel Moreno, and you have Gino all doing the thing right now. So, and Pavin Smith deserves his credit as well. He came in a pinch hit situation and got the job done. He's hitting .571 right now. God bless our Ginger Jesus. But
Carlos says we don't have enough undersized, speedy left-handed outfielders. Well, we got news. Slade.
Yeah. Can I interest you in one Slade Caldwell? Let's go.
We got more in the pipeline.
Yeah, we're not even done yet. All right, what else do we got there, Kevin?
Next up, James Sargent. Yes, sir. Should Gallen get traded with how he pitched last year? His opening day dud, and now Corbin is in the rotation as the true ace. Are his best days already behind him?
Well, I know Jacob Franklin is probably going to scream at me, but I do have to tell you guys that if you are watching on TV, which you're not anymore, go over to gophnx.com and join us there. But
Jacob's in the chat. He can't get mad at you.
He can't get mad.
He also has the timestamp.
He's part of the reason why it's going so
long. He knows
long.
this show starts at 2.
Time check.
Yeah, like I should have had a little watch guy
like
or something
a little
going
comment,
on.
Fellas, it's 58 minutes.
Yeah. Ooh, I like Ginger Avenger. That's good too. All right, so back to the question. You don't even consider trading Zach Gallen right now because his value couldn't be probably any lower than it is right now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we're late on that. Yeah, we are.
You're right about that.
But like, what's the point, right? So but it is a consideration. It is something that over the course of this season, in having conversations with Zach, if something comes up that I can't imagine a scenario where they give up on Zach Gallen this season, right? But I'm just saying, if something comes up and you know that you're not going to get, and we've talked about this, is probably in the case of a bad year, but you're not going to bring Gallen back. You might consider a trade just to kind of, get what you can with him because he's going to walk at the end of the season. The Diamondbacks have plenty of players to offer qualifying offers to that will probably reject them, that they'll be able to get those compensation picks or the other picks, right?
And he's one of them. So, and he's the main one, really. So, yeah, I think with Gallen, you have to hope that he just gets better. I wouldn't trade him at all, especially given the fact that you're likely going to get a pretty decent prospect out of him, especially with Mike Hazen at the helm. I trust Mike Hazen making that pick. So, yeah, I wouldn't trade Zach Gallen, and I think that the ceiling of this team is very high with him on the roster. You just got to find a way to get him pitching right at the right time, and it's way easier said than done. But Zach Gallen is the ceiling of this team, Derek, and where we think this team can go this year is almost entirely based on that 3-man rotation and what they're going to do in the postseason, in my opinion. So, got to have Gallen pitching well. Loved what we saw at Maryland start one, and then hopefully Corbin Burns just continues to be who he is. But yeah, Zach Gallen, I certainly wouldn't trade him right now.
All right. Well, we are going to get to some more Mailbag Monday questions on the other side of our final break. Don't you guys go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondbacks show.
Didn't realize we had a final break. I didn't realize we were a big-time show like that.
No, yeah, we got another break. We got another break to do because you're going to be out at Gila River Resorts and Casinos with the boys for the PHNX Cardinals draft day watch party on April 24th. So make sure to join Bo, Johnny, Damon, and the Cardinals diehards at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass in the Upper Deck Bar and Grill for an unforgettable NFL draft party and live show presented by Circle K and Gila River. For $99, your ticket includes an entrance to the Upper Deck Bar and Grill, the PHNX Cardinals live show. That's worth the money right there. But you also get an all-you-can-eat dinner buffet from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., drink tickets for the 21 and over crowd, raffle tickets for great giveaways. You also receive 20% off this event if you're a diehard. So sign up today, join us for some fun, and then have a great night out there at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You're already out there. Get down on the Buffalo, get down on a little Alien Pigs game, and have a fun time. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details. If you're looking for more fun, if you're looking for more excitement, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Bet365 has over 90 million users worldwide, and for good reason. They offer early payout offers across all sports, including their MLB payout offer, where you're a winner if your team goes up by 5 runs with an early instant payout offer on straight bets and parlay selections, which will be marked as winners. You can also get down on another NBA tip-off Tuesday tomorrow. Place a qualifying bet on any NBA game, parlay bet, totaling $20 or more on Tuesday's NBA games and get up to $25 in bonus bets. Terms and conditions apply. New customers right now can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, use that code of PHNX365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 or more to receive $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the prop, total, spread, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Bet365 must be 21 or over and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov. All right, well, let's finish up. We got a few more questions in the mailbag. What do we got, Kev?
Digging deep into the bag, ZZZ. Best unconventional way the Dbacks have ever won a game?
Pretty sure Kevin missed like 2 Z's on the end of that one.
Yeah, I really didn't want to go ZZZ. Wait, ZZ.
I would have preferred
see,
that.
Now we're hash anyway.
I just thought this guy was a big J journalist,
Yeah,
it's like getting people's names wrong is like top 1 rule you don't break. But best unconventional way the Diamondbacks have ever won a game.
Because of bees?
I think it's, was that the question, or was he asking if this past game was the most unconventional?
I don't know if this was the most unconventional win. I think the Diamondbacks have had some pretty out there victories. I can't.
The bees was pretty crazy.
The bees was pretty crazy for sure. I don't know. I think that there was, Carlos said, was it last year, 2023, that he had a period where he would give up a home run every start for like 4 straight starts? That's about Zach Gallen. The Archie Bradley triple.
Yeah, I think that's got to be my answer. Yeah, I mean, I've never heard. That's the loudest I think I've been in any sports stadium or arena in my entire life.
Yeah.
Was that Archie Bradley triple.
Right.
That exact moment. I mean, it was shaking inside of
It was
Chase
shaking,
Field.
yeah. I was in an auxiliary press box, which was set up basically where they do the dogs in the park, bark in the park area over there in the left field behind the concourse. And that's absolutely a moment I'll never forget. And it's because of Archie Bradley, right?
I was Sting sitting up in the nosebleeds.
Yeah.
At that game. Just,
nice.
I mean, like, no one's ever sat higher at Chase Field than what me and my parents sat at the Archie Bradley game, but electric nonetheless. The Ryan Roberts Grand Slam, it's a good shout.
Jacob's right with the rally haboob. That was a good one. I mean, that was so good that it ended up with one of the greatest giveaway items at all time, which was that dirt snow globe, the haboob
electric,
snow globe.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. This team does win weird games in a lot of different ways. And I mean, I think that I still think of the 2001 World Series victory of Luis Gonzalez getting that hit off of Rivera.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a
honestly
that's not unconventional, but that's
maybe
just
put
still,
that
like,
one number one.
Yeah.
Blown Mariano Rivera postseason save. Yeah. That's the most unconventional way you can possibly win a baseball game.
Ryan brings up the Seth Beer walk-off. That is still the most surreal moment for me in my life. We had such a chaotic night because that was opening day and we were out doing it remotely at a bar. I had a lady kiss me after that game.
Wow.
Wild stuff. Wild stuff.
Yeah,
Shout out to
your wife was happy about that one.
I still think of her. I still miss her. All right, what else we got, Kevin?
We got trouble for you on the horizon, but are we back to 5 shows a week? Are we so back? Also, has anyone ever told Damon Dog he looks like Ryan Nelson?
Ryan, yes.
People in this chat, I believe, I think Karen might have come up with that. It was maybe Connor. It was definitely like one of our OGs here that was around here.
Do we have a shot? Oh, yeah.
I can see it.
It's
the eyes. It's the eyes, I think.
It's the eyes.
Little smirk, little grin.
Little bit of the facial hair too.
Yeah,
right?
A little bit.
Like his might be a little bit thicker, but
I'll take it.
Yeah,
he's got a little bit redder hair than I do.
Yeah.
You know, Ryan's a good
looking
guy.
If I was to say, hi, this is Damon Nelson, Ryan's little brother, you guys would be like,
I don't know how I ended up 6 inches shorter than him and not nearly as athletic. But
genetics are a bitch.
What's up,
sometimes.
Damon Nelson? Nice to meet you.
Sucks. All right. Sean says Damon also looks like Jackson Merrill. We're not going to do that. We're not doing that. Sure, whatever. All right, what else we got?
Next up, we got Yoshi. Do you think naming my Dialga after Ryan Nelson was a good decision?
First of all, I like the fact that you said that with a Latin accent, like you were saying a word in Spanish.
I can't say it any other way.
Dialga. Mira. No, I think that's a perfect timing. Good job on that. For those of you that don't know, a Dialga is actually a Pokemon and not a curse word in Spanish. Yeah.
Looking at him right now, yeah.
It's pretty.
I mean,
pretty
I'll be honest. Like, I was a Pokemon guy. I would have known this back in the day.
Yeah.
It did escape my memory, but I am visually reconciling with the Dialga here, and I love it, Yoshi. I think you should name every one of your Pokemon off after obscure baseball players. I think that'd be the best way of going about it.
That's a great.
Not an obscure baseball player, but what Pokemon? I'm putting you on the spot. What Pokemon would you name after Ketel Marte?
That's impossible.
There is a lot of
there's so many Pokemon.
There are.
Yeah. Which one?
Multiple generations of them, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're really looking for a flashy Pokemon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is what I think of. A good one, right? Like a solid one that's not gonna. He's just finding Pokemon.
Mark says Gengar.
Uniforms.
I was trying to find if there's a Pokemon that holds a baseball bat.
Yeah, probably. Maybe a stick or something. No, we don't. I don't know. What do you got, Kevin?
What's not a Pokemon guy.
What's the one with the that wears its mom's skull as the helmet and carries around the bone?
Oh, Cubone.
Yeah, I think maybe that one.
Yeah.
I feel like he could hit a baseball.
That's a pretty good one. I like Grookey because Grookey has a stick in his hand. I found that. So there we go. Grookey. That's what we're going with.
He's
adorable.
Yeah, but
look at him. He's
Catel's
adorable.
not really adorable. That's more like I think Corbin Carroll is.
What?
Whoa. Let's clear this up here. Cattell is the epitome of cool. Like I think of like Suave, and I'm like Cattell Marte.
But are there cool Pokemon?
Corbin Carroll is adorable.
Yeah, Cobra Cat.
You know what I just want to pinch Corbin's cheeks.
Yeah.
Whereas like Cattell, I'm like I want to dap him up. And my friends played. I told you this. My friends when the Dbacks were in Vegas for the little exhibition thing, my friends played craps with Cattell at the casino, and like that's what I want to do with Cattell. I want to play casino games with him. You know?
Yeah. I agree.
I don't know.
I agree. All right.
Where is Be Calm, See Clearly when you need him? That's my question. Last mailbag question, certainly not the least. Craig Jr. wants to know, what's the best PHNX office or baseball April Fool's prank you've witnessed or been engaged in?
I almost feel like it's every single time that there's a trade in the middle of the night. It's not an actual prank, but it feels like a prank. It feels like someone... like when the Diamondbacks got Gino and I had to leave a movie theater, it didn't feel like a real thing that had happened. I felt like I was being pranked. Do we think of any pranks historically? I went to Shane on this. I mean, I think of the numerous times that we left Emma somewhere as pranks, but that's only due to drinking.
Yeah, sure. What's it called? We don't talk about that, by the way, for reasons. But yeah, I guess I would say maybe April Fool's jokes are kind of dead.
You think so?
I mean, I'm trying to think of the last like good April Fool's joke that like somebody got me on. And I'm sitting here and I can't. Not one is popping up. So I'm kind of like maybe it's a dying holiday.
You know what's part of this? I think, Damon. There are so many, like, I'm not trying to get, like, too woke about this, but there are so many, like, NBA Centels, like, these fake accounts that are trying to get you every day.
Yeah.
That when April 1st comes around, you're like, oh, this is just another AI image, or, oh, this is just another fake post, or, oh, fake quote from Cattell Marte.
Mr. Woke over here.
It's just hard to fool people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm saying, like, people like those accounts. They think they're funny. But I think they might have actually ruined the holiday, is my point. I think
misinformation being as prevalent as it is has definitely made it
Things aren't funny anymore.
It's lost its luster.
Yeah, it's not fun. I will say, finding out that Kyle Cooper was in fact actually eating cold food out of a can.
Oh yeah,
it felt like a prank, and I wanted it to be a prank, but it wasn't.
Just like chicken noodle soup, like opening up the
it's insane
Campbell's can and just scooping out of it. Makes no sense.
No, yeah, that's
that one friend that's too woke. That's Kevin, man.
That's Kevin.
Freaking can't have a conversation with this guy around.
Yeah, not even a little bit. But well, we've gone way too long, and I've taken up way too much of this man's time. But we appreciate you guys for sticking around, and thank you for letting me scream obscenities at you for a short period of time. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Of course, you can follow all of us on Twitter. I am at Cap_caveman with a K. Kev is at Kevo Posts. This guy is at Damon Dog. We are Damon's dogs.
Bark, bark.
Bark, bark. Shows at PHNX_Dbacks. But as always, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And again, we thank you guys so much for stopping by. Appreciate your time and your civil discourse today. We will see you tomorrow with a post-game show. So make sure to stop by after that Yankees game and see if Diamondbacks can talk.
Happy birthday to Glove Reddy's daughter.
Oh, yes. It's your daughter's birthday. Let's go.
April Fool's is dying, but your daughter's birthday is certainly...
No, it's not April Fool's Day. It's your daughter's birthday.
Very well and alive and thriving.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we have some super chats before we get out that I completely ignored. So, Piece of Yoshi says Mantiply was off, but so was Puck. Great point. Thank you so much for your super chat and for being here. And Michael Rokicki also... thank you again for your super chat about me missing Raw. Appreciate it. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do in order, to get the job done, and that includes missing pro wrestling. But we'll have plenty of chances for that. Thank you guys again so much for stopping by. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, have a great night. Behave yourselves, and remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you don't get mad after wins.
We all silly like the mayor.